Special meeting. Oh, that's right. Here's Deb.
Here's Deb in all of her glory. All right, there you go.
All right. Call to order this special meeting of the Plainfield Public Library District Board on December 3rd at 7 p.m. And we start by pledging the flag. Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh my goodness, we have everybody. We have President Carl Gilmore, Vice President Crystal Andel, our Secretary Vicki Knight. We are missing our treasurer Pat Miller tonight with notice. She had to go to Florida, and we have trustees Sharon Kinley, Jason Petz, and Lisa Schmidt. We also have Don McKay from Nagel Hartrey Architects, Graham Harwood from CCS International, who is our owner's rep, our wonderful guests out there in the crowd. Hi, Vicki. And I'm Julie Milivec, the library director, and Lisa Pappas is also here with us. And that brings us exactly to where we need to be, because our group is
excellent. And we welcome them, or do we join them?
I think we're going to have to join them just outside the story time room. We are congratulating Lourdes Hernandez, who is our first the first person from our tutoring group to receive her citizenship. And if Tanya would like to say a few words to the board, and then we'll, do we want to all troop out there?
Why don't we? Let's.
All right, we'll troop out to where it's larger. And then take out here.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I know, I was on the table. It's so nice to meet you, Lonnie. Thank you. Hi.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad you're here too. So I don't think I met you. Hi, Lourdes. Yes. Enjoy your moment.
All right, we have everyone. Is that our whole crowd? There we go. We've got everyone over there. Okay.
For the picture in front.
Okay.
This is the brainchild after our program. Ilse came to me and said, "Hey, I just got my citizenship. Can I volunteer and do something?" Okay, I didn't know anybody at the moment that needed training for that, but then I've known Lourdes for a few years. Lourdes' daughter and my son were classmates, and her daughter pushed her to call me. And it was just about the same time, so all these things just merged together at the right time. And then I thought, hey, I got the person for this, and I have the student for her. So that's what just happened. Out of the blue, we had this program run on, and I had this question over and over again. You guys do citizenship? No, we don't. You guys do citizenship? No, we don't. But you do ESL. Why can't you do citizenship? And then, obviously, I contacted Mandy, who's our JJC coordinator for Literacy and Adult Services at Joliet Junior College, and I said, Mandy, does she need any special training? She said, nope, just what she knows and whatever we can help her with, and that's it. And Luz actually came in aboard because Ilse got a new job and she couldn't finish the training. So this was her replacement.
Excellent.
So it's a team effort.
And it does really take a whole team to help somebody through this. It's quite a process, and we are so grateful and proud. So we have certificates for Ilse Rios, for Lourdes Hernandez, our first graduate, and for Luz Tenzer, who brought her through the program. Can we get our...
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Congratulations!
Yay!
Smile for everyone. Between us all, we can get some great pictures. How many students are they on right now between the two of them?
Oh, right now we have 4 more citizenship students coming up.
Right now.
And
we are just, and it's such
looking
hard
for
work,
her
and
family.
we are so grateful for your dedication in helping all of our students to get through and to do exactly what Lourdes is leading the way.
And Lourdes is hard work. Oh my goodness. I have to say, and I hope she doesn't mind, Lourdes is a single mom. She works her behind off, you know what I mean? To get her kids, you know, ahead and to be a citizen and working really, really hard. And I'm really proud of you.
Yay.
So will you start teaching the citizenship class now?
Now it's her turn, yes. Because that's how our program works. It's pay it forward.
And that is our whole group. That has really been from the very beginning. They come through, they learn, and then they share what they learn with their other students, and that's exactly where we came from.
Because Isa started coming to our group 6 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of our oldest patrons that comes to the program. She doesn't give up.
Excellent.
And it's been wonderful to have you all and to grow the program literally to where we've outgrown the room that you're all in. And we need the room for the tutors to be able to continue to get more of our students through this program so that we can have more citizens.
Say it loud. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, now we got to get to the boring library board meeting.
Now we have cupcakes upstairs.
Are you guys up for books for tonight? Do you have enough?
I'll bring you some.
Okay, good.
Good.
Let me know. Do you want to come in? Let me know.
All right, good. More photos. More photo ops.
I'm just gonna sign out so I don't disrupt you guys anymore though.
Yeah, and if you go upstairs, you get cupcakes. Unfortunately,
But we're down here.
yeah, we're down here and they have cupcakes.
Oops, sorry.
Well, I didn't have any hot water for the last 3 days because our hot water heater broke.
Oh, no.
Are you gonna go?
So,
Yeah, they told me that I had to go.
so ice showers up until today have been call for norms.
They're
Alright then. Yeah, no, they're bracing and they're great for sleeping. But
I'm gonna try not to block you.
We love a feel-good story, and that's one of our favorites. Our ESL programs have just become so popular with our community, and it all grew out of a need that the school district had identified for us. They were looking for places for the parents of their students to go and practice their conversational English. And this wonderful program has just grown out of that one need, trying to connect some of our immigrant residents with each other to practice.
Because that's part of that
Yes.
testing that's.
Yes, and in order to pass your citizenship test, you have to demonstrate your ability with conversational English. So,
And answer a lot of difficult questions.
yes.
I've been there and done it.
And even in your first language, it's not easy.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if I could pass it. You're studying, that's what scares me.
Okay, yes, so now we move on to item 3, public comment. If there's anyone who wanted to address the meeting this evening.
I guess
Someone
I'll just introduce myself.
Wonderful,
briefly.
thank you.
My name is Joe Hirsch. I'm here tonight to hear about your library program. I represent Berglund Construction. And periodically over the years I've come out to Plainfield and I've noticed the community's been growing and growing over the last 20 years and 10 years. But it's always been during the day and it always seems relatively busy. I've never been out to Plainfield at this time in the evening during the week, and it's just amazing to me the population that you have out here now, and very apparent that an expanded library program is very much in order. So
Yes.
I wish you the best.
Yeah, it doesn't change day to night. It's still very, very busy.
Okay.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. Excellent.
All right,
Any other public comment? Wonderful. Thank you. We will then move on to the action items, the reasons for this special meeting this evening. First, on our unfinished business list, under building and expansion planning, we have a presentation by our architect firm on exterior elevations and some updates from the last meeting when we gave some feedback. So
Yep.
Don, thank you.
Okay.
Welcome.
Great, thank you. And we've incorporated Graham's presentation on the budget into our presentation, so
Good.
We'll get to that as well. I'm going to begin by apologizing for two things. One is the rather awkward staple in the upper right-hand corner of the package, and then the other is the 8.5 by 11 somewhat fuzzy format, which we were planning on presenting this on the screen. And so we'll go through this as best we can. I think, we are talking about something that everybody's familiar with. We've talked about this in the past, and so what we're going to really highlight tonight are some of the improvements that have been made as a result of some of the conversations that we've had. So, beginning on the third page, which is the south elevation.
Yes. Excellent.
So on the third page, the south elevation, the refinements that we've made there, at the last meeting, we had introduced an idea for brick patterning on the building. Do you need another copy?
Yes.
Yes.
Just for the audience.
And one to Alice.
Get two off it, there you go.
Here, I'll take the other one.
Sorry?
I'm gonna put one down the.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Yes?
Do you have an extra so I can sort of-
Now I think we're good.
No, I think
have
you
one
got
more.
it. Yeah, one more.
All
All
right here,
right.
just in
You
case.
brought the exact
No
right
waste.
number. Okay. Waste not one.
All right, so on the third page is the south elevation. This is the main elevation for the building. It's the front entry elevation. This is the one that faces the parking lot. At the last meeting, we had introduced an idea for some brick patterning based on the arch pattern that you see illustrated on the left-hand side of this image. And some of the comments that were made, I wasn't at the last meeting, but I think Eric did a good job kind of relaying some of the concerns expressed at the last meeting. Maybe there was too much of the brick patterning. So we broke it down a little bit. We incorporated the signage over the patterning there. We made a kind of a bigger statement with the signage, if you will, as a piece on there. And I think that's going to be important because this facade is going to be highly visible from Lockport Street, looking up Illinois Street. And then the other big change we made to really call more attention to the entry itself, which is something that I think we've kind of struggled with on and off in developing these elevations, is to take that same brick pattern and introduce windows into it. I think this is really going to call a lot of attention to the entry of the building. I think especially at night, you can imagine, being able to see the activity in there at night. Then just below that is the arch canopy over the entry, which is an idea that we introduced at the last meeting and that seemed to receive some pretty favorable response. The other detail that we've added here, and it's a detail that I think shows as kind of more of a conceptual idea at this point, is along the cornice line at the top of the building. There's that kind of staccato dot pattern that you see there. That represents shadows in the brickwork that would kind of run all the way around the building. And so if you flip through the pages here, you'll see that brickwork detail continues around the cornice of the building, all the way around the building. I think the other elevations are very similar to the ones that were presented the last time at the last board meeting. So maybe before I go, well, actually, it's probably a good idea to go into the next part of this, which is recapping a review that we had with representatives of the village. And this was specifically with the village administrator, Brian Murphy, and with the village planner, Michael Garrigan. We talked about process and specifically related to the kind of joint property ownership of the parking lots on the site. They did not feel that that was going to be a difficult issue to resolve, that the IGA that exists between the school district and the village will provide a vehicle, to address that fairly easily. They also said that there was no need for us to present the designs as they stand right now to the village board until the referendum passes. So they felt that, they appreciated the fact that we came in and talked to them, kind of explained what it is that we're doing and what we're up to, but they said there really wasn't a need to go beyond that at this point. So, and then the other two items here I've kind of grouped under two big design headings. One is urban design and one is architectural design. And just to clarify what is meant by that distinction, urban design really has to do with kind of site issues, things that occur kind of outside of the building, things that are more of a kind of a public realm. And this is really the area of expertise that the two people we met from the village will comment on. It's more of the urban design issues. So in terms of the building siting, where it's located on the site, the building massing, kind of how tall it is, how the volumes break down, the access off of Route 59 and off of Illinois Street, and just generally the building's relationship to the downtown and to its immediate neighbors. They thought all that looked good to them from the urban design point of view. One of the comments they made was that I think in terms of developing the design, one of the things that we have yet to do is develop that kind of entry plaza piece, at the front entry where we had the berm. And whether the berm stays or goes, I think is really going to be finally the result of figuring that plaza piece out in a little more detail. But Michael Garrigan recognized an opportunity with that plaza piece to kind of be a good neighbor to the residents across the street and get something that was kind of more residential in scale there as well. The parking location south of the library they thought was good because of its relationship to the downtown. They did indicate that studies that they've done indicate that the perception that parking is a big problem, maybe more perception than a reality. Now, we didn't, this kind of led into to one of the other issues that we talked about, which was as the library looks at its parking count on the land that we've talked about so far and considers the possible additional purchase of other properties for additional parking, from the village's point of view, that cuts two ways. The houses that are on those sites right now, the village, one point of view is that they are contributing factors to the general historic character of the downtown. What we agreed to at the meeting is that this is not an issue that needs to be decided right now. This is really a question of values. Is it more valuable to have the parking? Is it more valuable to have the existing houses and whatever they contribute to the historic factor, to the historic fabric? And so what we agreed is that this is not an issue that the library or the village needs to address right now. This can be addressed after the referendum as you go through the planning process. So that's kind of where we left it. If that's if you have any different ideas on how to approach that, let us know. But that's where we left it with Michael and Brian. And then regarding the architectural design, again, this is an area that's kind of outside their expertise, outside their area of comment in reviewing this. However, they did say that they thought that what we're developing would be a good fit in downtown Plainfield. They're very glad that it's located in downtown Plainfield. Michael made the comment that he really liked the curvilinear glass wall because it reminded him of the river. He thinks that association in the community is a good association. We said, we hadn't thought of that so far, but we're gonna use that now. And then the one comment they did make on the design is the west elevation, which is the elevation that faces the houses across the street. And we were trying to keep that very quiet in a way, and not have a kind of strong library presence right across from the houses. Their feeling was that we need to add windows. into that side of it to kind of enliven that side of it as well. So I think this is, from a functional point of view and from an aesthetic point of view, this is something we can easily accommodate, going forward. I don't think that's a problem at all. I think it's just a matter of, perspective, and how you make judgments on these things. So I think if that's, if that's the biggest issue, the design issue that we have to deal with, it's a relatively minor issue that we have to deal with. So any questions? And Graham and Julie were there with Eric and I at the meeting, so I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that part of the discussion?
I would add that the third floor was not an issue. So they were okay with the third floor, which in the past, the previous project they weren't, but this was a no issue, and they were very okay with it.
And the one comment that Brian Murphy did make about the mechanical area being surrounded by 4 walls and on that upper floor, so that the noise would be funneled up rather than the noise from those mechanicals going into the neighborhood, since they're kind of recessed into that third floor. Also, Mike Garrigan's comment on the additional parking and taking down the houses, part of his comment was about the village's vision for division. That really focuses on the business transition district and the conservation of those historic homes to really try to transition them into businesses. And that having parking along Route 59 instead would not really fit with the overall vision for division. So there's that.
But I think very favorable comments.
Yes, I thought so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, very positive.
Any other questions or comments on the elevations and the building design? What we have now?
So primarily the southern face
Yeah.
that's new, because
Yeah.
like you said, there really aren't any
we've gone
substantive
through
changes to anything
several-
else, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Except for the
gone-
cornice line, which is something that's been talked about before.
Right.
Yes.
Is there any detail of what that really,
Is it just an in
Looks
and
like-
out kind of a thing?
Yes.
Yeah. Something.
So just, yes, it is
Something this
like
way.
that would cast shadows. And I think this is, frankly, this is a kind of thing that we would study, half a dozen details of before we finally settle on something. So I think we understand that it's desirable to get something up there that captures the sunlight, similar to the cornice lines that you have along Lockport Street as well. The exact detail of that is something that'll be figured out down the road.
but the idea is similar to the ones that we looked at, where it kind of projects out from the face of the building to create the shadow in varying depth?
Possibly.
Okay.
It's some brick patterning, okay.
No, but I think it is, it's not just
Something,
changing.
yeah,
Yes, there's some in and out.
or,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, so something will be projected.
This way
in
or
order
that
to-
way.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So the next item we had was to review the budget.
Well,
Any other comments?
what,
I like
could we just go around the table and,
Oh, sure.
and kind of give everybody an opportunity to react? I know we
Yes,
did that last time,
absolutely.
and I think we got some good conversation going, just to make sure everybody gets an opportunity to talk. Crystal, do you
Well,
have?
I'm actually thrilled about, the comments from the village that they were so minimal. I
Mhm.
mean, I think that's really kudos.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So, and I really like the revisions regarding the front entrance. I like the way the name is up there now, and it's
Yeah.
much more highly visible, and I like the tying with the windows and the arch, the overhang arch.
Mhm.
I like it.
Great, okay. Vicky?
I like the way it looks, except I don't know what you call them, but those white In between the arches, there's some white
Oh,
spots.
So the juncture points
Yeah.
at the top of the,
Yeah, those are stone pieces that are kind of they form the spring point of the arch. It'll make more sense when we show it at a larger scale.
It seems like the library's sign gets lost.
Right, and I agree with you. I think that there is still a little bit of competition between the patterning in the background and the signage in front of it. And I think that that's something that we can address as we get down the road. I think that the reality is, if we go with that kind of softer colored brick that we had talked about, the contrast between the brick and the stone will probably be less than is shown here. Which means that that stone will kind of recede a little bit and it won't be as noticeable as a pattern. So I think between doing that and then beefing up the signage, you know, I think the other part of that is figuring out what does the signage actually consist of and how do we make that a little more bold. But I agree with you. I think that right now the signage gets a little lost in the competition with the patterning behind it.
That's the only thing, otherwise I like the other sign.
Sharon?
I think revisions are very acceptable. I'm
Good.
really pleased to see.
Jason?
Yeah, these are, I like this a lot better than the asymmetrical windows from last month.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I said my first comment in the email I sent to Julie was I think Graham's head almost exploded when he saw all the additional circular windows.
Yeah.
So,
That made you happy?
it didn't make me happy, I saw that, I thought it looked better, but then I thought it probably looks better because it was more expensive. So hopefully that hasn't eaten in too much to the rest of the.
No, and I think this is this is a move that we're making at the front entry of the building, where you're gonna get a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak. So I think if this was a detail we're proposing as kind of a typical detail around the building, yes, we'd have concern over it. But I think, frankly, this is one of the tricks in developing the design for the building, and you'll see this as we get into the interiors as well, which is picking a few spots where we spend more money and get kind of a bigger statement. And then, you know, our theory on this is that if you kind of get a few of those throughout the library building, as you move through the building, your mind kind of fills in the gaps a little bit. So you're not spending the same level of money in detail throughout everything, you're kind of picking a few spots. So I think this is the first spot, you know, that it's gonna show up.
And the only other thing was the historical stuff, but that has been a consistent concern that I've had since we've been doing anything and started. So they don't have an issue with the houses that we currently have planned for the expanded library, do they? Like this 2 spot that we have to look at already?
The comment was about all 5 homes, and that includes the one that the library has owned for a number of years and used for storage. That is not in any shape. One of the things that I did make sure that I shared was that these homeowners are free to move the house. The codicils that we added in the contracts allow them to take any fixtures or pieces that they would like. If they would like to move the entire historic home to another location, absolutely.
Yeah, they can take anything and everything based on what our plan was, as long as they leave the land there.
Yes.
I mean, they could tear it down.
Technically, they could.
What they're saying is they want that entrance into Plainfield to be a house look
To be-
historic.
More contiguously residential in appearance, even if they are in fact businesses.
Like the houses by Illinois Commercial are now.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
That's the only concern. I mean, I had that concern as soon as I read the initial email.
Yeah.
But that's been a consistent concern that I've also had throughout our entire process, so I'm just curious about where we're standing with that.
Well, and
Well, we did go before the historical commission on this though, and there was not that same level of concern raised. Was there?
they're still concerned.
Okay.
The Historic Preservation Commission is concerned. They did note that some of these houses are considered contributing. They are not in the historic district, and none of them are designated as landmarks. But there are many other homes in the area that are considered contributing to the historic character of the neighborhood.
Okay.
That being said, we also heard very, very strongly from the beginning of this process that the library should remain in the downtown.
Right.
Duly noted.
Those may not match up.
So where do we go from there then?
Well, that's the discussion then.
Duly noted. That's all